I'm Andy DeBillis at the EU Conference on Anti-Doping in Athens, Greece, with David Howman, the Director General of the World Association for Anti-Doping, known as WADA. Mr. Howman, you correctly addressed inside some issues about how far-reaching WADA has been in its only 10 years. It seemed to have made a very dramatic impact in a lot of ways. Do you think athletes are getting the message finally that no matter what they do, even if it's genetic doping, that one day they're going to be caught?
Well, I think most athletes are. I think as in any other strata of society, you're going to get a few rotten ones, and it takes a little longer to get the message through to the rotten ones. But the majority, I think, understand the message. We're certainly spending a lot of money and a lot of energy to deliver it, and I think the results really have got to be, are they fronting up to the starting line?
Is this a little bit like hackers trying to beat security codes in computers? You have brilliant scientists. The athletes who want to cheat have brilliant
Yes.
rogue scientists.
Yes, it is. And in fact, we've had to give our scientists instructions not to think like normal people with good values, but to think like cheats. And if they can go into research thinking like cheats, they're going to at least be on the same level as those who are extolling the athletes to actually cheat. So we have to do that.
Well, WADA has sent some strong messages, not just to athletes, but to countries as well, too. Do you feel a few years ago, if not for your intervention, Greece was pretty close to saying that Kenteris and Thanu case, that they did nothing wrong because they faked an accident to avoid a drug test. You don't see that happening again, I presume.
Well, you see it from time to time because people in their own countries are very fiercely nationalistic and want to look after their own and not concede that there may be problems with their own. They're quite happy to look across the fence to their neighbours and say, well, you've got a problem, but we haven't. And I think that's natural. So I don't regard it as something that is peculiar to this country. Having said that, I think we brought a lot of countries to the barrier that were nowhere near to be seen 5 years ago. For example,
it's been rapid progress.
The programs that we run is one called anti-doping program development. We've added 122 countries to the list of countries who at least know what anti-doping is about. So we're getting close to the full complement. That's an achievement of its own. That doesn't mean that all is well in the land of the world. It means that it's much better than it was.
Well, because, for example, I think the Chambers case in the UK showed that even an athlete that's been found guilty of something can continue to participate.
Well, those are the rules. Once you've served your time, you're entitled to come back. And some would like that to be stronger, and some would like, for a first offence, to have athletes banned for life. You've got to recognise then that there are other competing interests, such as rules of natural justice and human rights and so on, that preclude that. And I think we're reaching a balance so that if Chambers, for example, had committed the offence that he committed now, he'd probably be banned for 4 years and not 2 years. So there's a bit of a harsher approach to that form of cheating.
So you think that the rules will, as you get more knowledge about doping, you'll be able to tailor the rules and the punishments to what occurs?
Yes, we do not believe that our rules should be cemented in concrete. We believe that they are living documents and should be reviewed on a regular basis according to both practice and the sentiments of those who are playing sport, because we've got to be there to support the 90-something% of athletes who are clean. So if they say we've got something wrong or they want it corrected, we should be listening.
It's too bad you weren't around in the 1970s. Those American women would have gotten the gold instead of the East German swimmers, I presume. Well,
there were quite a few Australians too involved in that, and I know that some of them are still a little bit angry about it, and fairly so, yes. I think.
I know you're not with the IOC, but do you think that there's any way that this could be retroactive so that people who are known to be cheating aren't on the books as gold medalists?
Well, from a purely selfish point of view, I'd like to think that it could occur. As a jurist or as a lawyer with some background in
statute of limitations,
there are problems, yes. And you have to confront those problems and say, I wish we could do something about it, but we can't.
One last question. Will the 2012 London Games be clean games?
Look, I'm not the right person to ask for that. I'm the person to say, will we have a very effective anti-doping program in place in the lead up to the Games and at the Games? And the answer to that is yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is Andy DeBillis for NETV in Athens, Greece.